Hello, hello, and welcome back, everyone, to PSGL. This is the F8 Championship for season number 30, and we're back for another race here in the PlayStation division. So happy to be commentating once again on this amazing league as we get ready for the Singapore Grand Prix. Alright, so this is the F8 division in the PlayStation divisions of PSGL. Super excited to get racing once again at the Marina Bay Street Circuit. It is a phenomenal circuit, and we're going to talk about it briefly just for a moment while we get into the session. So there's 23 corners on the circuit, which is very long for an F1 circuit. The circuit length is 5.0 kilometers, that's 3.1 miles long, and there's also 3 DRS zones to help encourage overtaking. Raffles Boulevard is going to be the best place to make an overtake, and we're actually riding on board with Hyped, who's the first driver out on track, and there's going to be another DRS zone down to turn 14 right here, but it's a little bit of a shorter DRS zone compared to the others, so don't see a lot of overtakes into this particular section of the track. But besides the DRS zones, there's many other places to make overtakes, and drivers somehow find the courage to go side by side into some of these corners. So you join us with about 15 minutes remaining of the qualifying session as we get ready for round 12 of season 30's F8 Championship. Alright, so if you did miss out on the previous round in Mexico, it was a phenomenal race. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to commentate that one as I had some other commitments, but I'm back here commentating for the F8 division. I hope you guys are enjoying the stream so far. Please make sure to comment down below your thoughts on the upcoming Grand Prix here today in Singapore as we get ready for the really exciting Singapore Grand Prix. It's sure to be exciting as we are under the lights here in Marina Bay. As unfortunately, Hyped has invalidated his lap time as we were riding on board with the Red Bulls. Just about to do an onboard with him, but I'm sure he'll go out for another lap. But if you guys are unfamiliar with who I am, well, I'm Formula Jonah, your commentator for the F8 division. I've been commentating on this PSGL division for the entire season, and will continue to do that till the end of the season. And we're not far away from the end of the season, viewers. We're just, I'd say 4 rounds remaining of the season. Just a few rounds remaining, guys. It's going to be an incredible end, an epic end to the F8 division here in season 30 of PSGL. The championship is going down as well. A lot of drivers looking to get a good result, maybe get their first win before the season ends as we prepare for the brand new F1 2022 Formula 1 game. But yeah, if you guys are enjoying the stream, please make sure to subscribe to PSGL as well, to not just see more F8 content, but see more content on the league itself. It's going to be great to be to see all the streams going around. I know there is a lot of commentary coming from PSGL. Alrighty, so no one has set a lap quite yet, but we do have the Ferrari going through turn 14 purple in the second sector, so maybe Ferrari might go on to onto pole position and start off the qualifying session. I think a McLaren's coming around, and it should be Jarno about to set the fastest lap of today's particular session. He's the first driver to do so, and it's a 136.8. Very quick lap time from Jarno as he sets the benchmark lap time. As we see an Alfa Romeo coming to the line, I think he's about to start his lap as we now see the Ferrari go and beat that lap time by around 3/100ths of a second, and good lap time from the Ferrari driver. So Artur Melo on the mediums as well. Keep an eye on drivers qualifying on the medium compound tires. We'll get into strategy a little bit more as we head into the qualifying session and the race itself, but I briefly want to talk about something. Briefly want to talk about that strategy as well. So yeah, I guess I'll mention strategy real quickly. You do not want to qualify on the softs. That's something you do not want to do for a round here. The reason why is because degradation is incredibly high for a round here. Softs only last for around 4 laps, and then they start degrading quite considerably, which is quite insane. You know, the degradation is very powerful for around here, and drivers want to make sure that they don't push those tires too much, as they can really hurt those tires. As Chris Howlett now goes fastest overall with a 136.0. The Haas driver in P1 currently, and looking to get another win, which would be great But yeah, definitely do not qualify on the softs if you have the opportunity to qualify on the mediums. Of course, these drivers will be qualifying on the softs. I'm assuming the majority will be because they want to make sure that they get a good lap time and want to try and maybe snag a top 5 in the qualifying session. But if you have the opportunity to go for the mediums, do not qualify in the softs because the degradation is incredibly high. Mediums are going to start degrading around, I'd say, 11 to 12 laps. The predicted pit strategy from the medium tires, if you start on those, has you probably pitting around a lap 11 or lap 12. That early, guys. It's really strange, actually, how the degradation is super high for around here, but it's how it goes. It's how it all works. You definitely want to do a 2-stop strategy. I don't think it's really the best opportunity or the best way to do a 1-stop for round here. You'd have to go medium hard and try and stretch those mediums for a long ways so you can make sure those hards last to the end of the Grand Prix. 31 laps, I do believe, is the lap counter for today's Grand Prix. So yeah, we'll see how strategy works out. And another thing to mention as well is safety cars. Safety cars could come out at any point in today's race because, of course, it is a street circuit and drivers can crash quite a bit in street circuits. We've seen that in Monaco. We've seen that in Azerbaijan in previous seasons of PSGL and, of course, in real life as well. But yeah, all street circuits are quite difficult to master as El Piloto now goes second for Williams on the medium compound tires. Ruben still fastest overall. And remember, these two are battling for the championship, so they're currently sitting P1 and P2 on the medium. So like I said, if they have the opportunity to qualify on the medium compound tires, that is going to be the best for them. All right, so it looks like 9 drivers have set lap times. We're still waiting for a few other drivers to set laps. Slash and Julio still in the pit lane. Luca in that Mercedes hasn't validated, so he's not improving on that particular time. And then we got Plux in the Alfa Romeo, looking pretty quick. Let's see what he can do. He's on an invalid lap time, so he's not going to be improving that lap. We're actually going to go for an onboard lap with the Alfa Romeos. He's going to come down to turn 1. No, actually, we're not going to do that because he's just backed off of that particular lap, so he's not going to be improving on that one, which is quite interesting to see that. And I think what's going on now is drivers are coming into the pit lane. We're not going to see too many laps right now. Slash is coming out on the medium, so both Williams looking to qualify on the medium compound tires. So let's see how this works out for Williams here today. They could be going to try and both start on the mediums and try and get into the top 5 on those tires as well, which would be quite difficult to do that. So I expect a few of the front runners that are usually qualifying on pole position probably not to be there today because they're going to try and qualify on the mediums because that'll probably be the best strategy for some of these drivers. It really just depends on their driving style, really. But it looks like everyone's kind of coming into the pit lane. They're kind of reviewing the data, kind of going over like, okay, where can I improve on this particular lap? You know, did I mess up in this particular corner? Can I try and get a better lap into, can I try and get a better line into that corner? So that's what those drivers are doing as they come into the pit lane. And also, they'll probably be, if they're on the medium compound tires and if they qualified on those tires as well, they'll probably be considering either staying on those mediums or going out on the softs, making a tough decision on strategy. One strategy could win, one strategy could not. So it's a big thing. So Slash and the Williams, we're going to ride on board for his lap. Let's see what he can do. The winner of the Dutch Grand Prix coming through the final few corners, about to start his lap time, and we're going to take it on board with the Williams driver. And invalidations, you can get them very easily for around here, so drivers have to make sure that they keep to the track and not go too wide. Understeer is going to be a big issue as well. So coming down the straight, a smaller straight than the Raffles Boulevard straight, as you come down into one of the best first couple of turn sections on the F1 calendar, in my opinion. I absolutely love turn 1, turn 2, and turn 3. Then we're going to come to a right-hander. If you go too wide, you can get an invalidation. Get very close to the curb. Has a little bit of lag there as we see Slash kind of teleporting back and forth a little bit as he comes through the flat-out section of turn 6 into Raffles Boulevard. That's going to be, I'd say, the highest point in terms of speeds as we come down into a slow part of the track. You can go wide there as you come into the left-hander. Hit that curb. Don't go too wide though, as you can get your tire kind of stuck on the wall there into a really quick left-hander. And this is one of the tightest sections of the track. Very nice line for Slash as he comes through probably the most difficult turn sequence of this entire track. Heavy braking zone, shifting down to second, and immediately up to fourth gear as you come through that second, or third actually, DRS zone into turn 14. A nice open corner. Don't go too wide. Don't go across the white line as you can get an invalidation very easily into a right then a left. Get right in between that curb. You want to make sure you get right in between that curb into the chicane. Under the tunnel we go. Into a left, then a right. Sector 3 is very slow, so these drivers have to make sure they get this very precise. A little bit of lag there as you can get right in between that curb, but you got to make sure you turn left as soon as possible. If you stay in the same line, you can hit that curb. As Slash goes on to provisional pole position with a 135.3 by 0.3 of a second. He beats Ruben's lap time, and it is Williams P1 and P3. What a lap from Slash there. It really was a great one. I think there was a few lag points, but that was just on our end of streaming. I think the maybe PlayStation or internet connection is not working quite well or something like that. I'm not exactly sure, but yeah, Slash currently on provisional pole. Let's see if he can keep it coming into the race. And it looks like a few drivers coming out on laps. They're about to start their lap times as we prepare for the final 5 minutes of qualifying here today. And this is where those lap times are going to matter for some drivers. Currently, we are on board with the Alpine of Mats. I want to see how he can do. He's currently P6. Alpine looking really strong as Mats in P6. Let's see what he can do on those medium compound tires. Only, I'd say, 6 drivers on the soft compound tires. So everyone else has decided to qualify on the mediums, which is quite interesting. LP Lothar has decided to come out on the soft compound tires as there goes Robin West into the top 5 on the mediums now. Very interesting. That's great to see as Klemblid in the Mercedes taking a surprise win at the Brazilian Grand Prix 2 races ago. Taking P6 currently right now. Just, wow, that's a very close lap time between 5th and 6th position. Just 3/1000ths of a second separating Robin and Clem. Very, very close between those two drivers. And Matt's coming through that really tricky, almost like a hairpin of the track, actually. And that's where you got to make sure you come on the power nice and easy, as you can spin off very easily if you get too much on the traction. But Matt's coming through turn 14 now, looking really strong in that Alpine car. He's on the mediums as well, so looking to improve on his position and try and make sure that he starts on those medium compound tires and also get a good position. Artur Mello also on the softs, looking to improve on his time. I think he could be going possibly up into the top 5 today. I think he's definitely got the pace to qualify on the soft compound tires in the top 5 here today. So who knows? Who knows? Maybe even on the maybe he might even take pole position. We'll see. But Mats is coming to the line now. Actually, he did improve on his position. He already crossed the line, and he's P7 at the flag. It's a 136.655 for the Alpine driver. As there goes Artur Mello. As I say that, as I was talking about him, possibly going on to pole position, well, he's just taken the top spot in qualifying, as Artur Mello now goes on to provisional pole as we enter the final 3 minutes of qualifying here today. Could the Ferrari driver take pole in his, I want to say his first race in PSGL's F8 season here today, but I could be wrong about that. I unfortunately missed Mexico, so I wasn't here to see if the Ferrari driver was here. If you guys know that information, please let me know if the Ferrari was in the last race in Mexico. But LP Lothar on the softs, he currently has those tires selected, but he has not gone out on track. So is he waiting till the final few moments, maybe to snag pole position here today, or is he going to try and stay on those medium compound tires? If it was me, I would stay on those mediums, as Jarno now goes P3 on the mediums. Very good lap time as he goes into the top 3 and ahead of Ruben and right behind Slash as well. So great lap from Jarno. Jarno has been in contention for the race victory at multiple different times this season. I think he's had some bad luck. I think Netherlands was a good example of that, where it just didn't really work out for him. All right, so Archer Mello's coming into the pit lane now. He is not improving on that time. He is going to be hoping that that time stays, and that time stays on pole position. He's retiring as well, so he's just going to hope that he gets pole here and hopes that no one else improves on their times and goes into a possible 135.2, but we'll find out. So Aussie in the AlphaTauri, let's see what he can do. The 92 AlphaTauri car, currently down in P16, has yet to set a lap time. Aussie's been very quick in previous sessions and looking for another great race here today. We'll see how this works out. All right, so I think we're just approaching the final few seconds of qualifying. I think this should be the final laps for everyone. Aussie to the line now. Where can he go? He goes only P12, so a little bit of a disappointing lap time from the AlphaTauri. Hopefully, he'll go for a second one. It looks like he's already doing that, and maybe he'll improve on that time. I hope he does, because, I mean, a 139.5 on the medium compound tires is not really, I'd say, the best lap time, but still, he's going to be in P13 right now. We'll see if he's able to improve on his time. We'll find out. But we have a few drivers setting laps. Ruben coming to the line, or coming to start his lap time. It's the Red Bull driver, currently in P4, looking to improve on his time. He's on the mediums as well. So this is putting a little bit more degradation on his tires, which is going to be a little hurtful, but we'll see. We'll see how that works out. I wonder if those tires will be a little bit more degraded in the Grand Prix. We'll find out. So the Williams of El Piloto down in P8, going for another lap on his medium compound tires and looking to improve on that time as well. I think the next driver to come across the lap time will be the AlphaTauri of Aussie, who we're riding on board with a little bit sooner. He's purple in the second sector. Aussie could be going onto provisional pole, but I mean, we'll see. Could he take pole here in Singapore? He's currently P15, yet to set any lap time in the session. Currently purple in the second sector, but he loses the car a little bit. He does lose the car in the tunnel section, so I don't think this is going to be pole position for Aussie, but anything can happen in league racing. As Aussie round the final corner, he comes in 6th gear, round the corner to the line. It is only P5, top 5, good enough lap time for a top 5, so I think Aussie will be proud with that. It's not pole position, but I'm sure he will be satisfied with a top 5 result in this particular Grand Prix. So Ruben, P4 right now. Can he improve on his time? He's flying through the last couple of turns as Ruben comes to the line now. Can he stick it on pole? It is only P3 for the Red Bull driver, and he has the exact same lap time as Slash. Absolutely insane. Second and third position have the exact same lap time as we cross the line. Insane stuff. Yarno on a lap, but he's actually invalidated, so he's not improving on his time. Hyped has finished his lap. He's not improving. Plex invalidated as well. The El Piloter is on a lap. Can the Williams driver and the championship contender get up into the top 5? He's currently P11, and let's see what he can do as he comes around the final couple of corners. Can El Piloter go up into the top 5 and join his teammates in the top 5 here in Singapore? It is only P6, but I think he'll be satisfied with P6 at the end of the day, and Williams take a top 6 result in today's race, and wow, I think that concludes qualifying, and that does mean that Artur Mello is on pole for the Singapore Grand Prix, followed by Slash and Ruben, who have the exact same lap time, as I am still stunned to see how that turned out. But what a qualifying session, absolutely phenomenal from all our drivers here today. What a top 5, what a pole position from the Ferrari, as now we head into the Grand Prix. Let's see what can happen. So Artur Mello on pole on the soft compound tires. He's going to have to defend against Slash, who's going to be on the mediums and probably will have the better pace once we get to lap 4. So P2 does go to the Williams driver, with the Danish driver Ruben in P3 for Red Bull, as the same exact lap time between second and third position. Absolutely incredible. And look at the top 3, just separated by 6/1000ths of a second. Wow. I have never seen that close of a qualifying session. 6/1000ths of a second between the top three. That's how close PSGL's F8 division is, and that's how you know how this league is got some quality. You know, that's how you know that these drivers are one of the best in the world in the PlayStation division. It is absolutely incredible. So anyway, we move into the race now. Hope you guys enjoyed that qualifying session, and don't go away because the race is coming up next, and that is sure to be even more exciting. And we're just waiting for the drivers to get on the grid. We're going to get that formation lap, and then we're going to get the racing underway. Super excited to get the racing underway here in PSGL's F8 division. So much action coming our way as we get ready for the Grand Prix here in PSGL. If you guys are new to the channel, please make sure to subscribe. I hope you guys are enjoying the stream so far. Like this video as well if you are. That would be much appreciated towards me. And if you guys would like to check out the content I do, the more commentary, the YouTube content I do, please make sure to subscribe to my channel as well. It's called Formula Jonah. That would be much appreciated. So, yeah, while you guys are subscribing to PSGL, do the same over on my channel. That would be much appreciated. So, all right, let's move into the Grand Prix as we head into the 31 laps of the Singapore Grand Prix here at the Marina Bay Street Circuit. Lots of action coming our way as we get ready for the lights out. And we're going to start off this race by talking about the grid here. And we're going to do a rundown of the grid before we get into the Grand Prix. All right, so let's start off with Artur Mellos, who takes P1. Artur Mello on the soft compound tires. Watch out for him. Maybe starting to degrade those tires. He might get a great start, and I'm sure he'll have the pace to be able to continue to lead. But the question is, can he defend against Slash and Ruben and all those drivers on the mediums once those tires start to degrade? Slash is P2 as the Williams driver is going to start alongside the Ferrari on the front row of the grid. Ruben, who got the exact same lap time of Slash, is going to start P3 with Jarno, the McLaren driver, starting P4. AlphaTauri had a great qualifying session, qualifying P5 and P7. Jerome in P5 next to El Piloter on the medium compound tires as well. Aussie P7 for AlphaTauri alongside Hyped on the soft compound tires. So watch out for him getting a really good start in the Grand Prix and maybe making a few positions up in the Grand Prix. Plex in the Alfa Romeo starts P9 with Nick Kenshin on completing the top 10 for Alpine F1 team. He starts on the medium compound tires. Chris Hallett has the freshest tires on the grid and will lead the bottom 5 drivers all the way down to 16th. And yeah, he will have the freshest tires out of anyone in the best position, I guess, for those fresh tires. Robin West starts alongside the Haas driver in P12 with Klempid on the hard compound tires starting P13 with Mats in P14 for Alpine, Julio in P15, and Luca in the Mercedes rounds off the 16 drivers for the F8 Singapore Grand Prix. Yeah, and watch out for the bottom 10 drivers looking to make a few positions up at the start, and they're going to be on the fresher compound tires. Like I mentioned, Chris is going to be in the best position to make those positions up. But here we go. The formation lap is ending. The drivers are coming to the line. They're setting into their grid spots. It's time for the Singapore Grand Prix. It's time to get the racing underway here at the Marina Bay Street Circuit. I'm Formula Jonah, your commentator, as we get ready for the Grand Prix. I hope you guys are excited for this one, as I sure am, as we're getting ready for the 12th round of PSGL's Season 30 event. All right, so Artur Mello starts on pole for the Singapore Grand Prix. It's 1 lights, 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights, and it's 5 lights. Oh, as we get ready for the Singapore Grand Prix, it's lights out, and away we go for racing here today. It's a great start for the front runners. Artur Mello leads us away. Slash trying to challenge him down to turn 1, but the Williams will keep in P2. Ruben P3 as Jarno is under pressure from the AlphaTauri of Jerome trying to go around the outside of the McLaren driver. Into turn 4 we go. It is Artur Mello that leads us away. The perfect start for the Ferrari driver, but he goes a little bit wide. Slash might have the opportunity to use the DRS as yellow flag. We're already seeing Aussie off the track. A difficult start for the AlphaTauri driver coming down to the end of Raffles Boulevard. Slash cannot get past. Artur Mello is keeping ahead as we prepare for the rest of the 30 laps of the Singapore Grand Prix. But what a start from everyone as Jerome and El Piloto are side by side. The Williams going for the switchback maneuver, trying to get the better traction out of that particular corner. They're side by side coming down to the old Singapore section. Old Singapore Sling, as I did mention, is the Red Bull of height, is now going to try and go around the outside. A little bit of contact, I think, as Jerome is spun around. The AlphaTauri is spun around, and it's a horrible start for the two AlphaTauri drivers, as Aussie's down to P15, Jerome down to P16. They started P5 and P7. They're now down to P15 and P16. Really difficult start for AlphaTauri. As Robin West and Nick Kenshin side by side coming down into the exit of turn 14 into 15 and 16 we go. Nick Kenshin goes a little bit wide. Robin might have the better action, the better traction out of that particular section. He does not though, and cannot get past the Alpine, so Nick will stay ahead for now, and Robin will keep in P9, but a great start for the Aston Martin from 12th up to 9th position now, and Robin is on the charge and looking to come through the field and get up into the top 8. So Artur Mello leads us away. He's got a fastest lap as well. The gap now is 0.7 of a second between the Williams and the Ferrari. Great start by Artur Mello. The question is, when are those softs going to start dying down? And when is Slash going to start coming back at him? As Robin West, after a great start to the Grand Prix, is down to 15th. A spin or contact or something like that is unfortunately brought Robin down to 15th position and really out of contention for points right now, which is incredibly unfortunate for the Aston Martin. Not the start he would have wanted. It was looking all so well on the first lap, and the second lap, it all just didn't work out. So what a start to the Singapore Grand Prix. Brilliant from all these drivers. Great action, overtaking all the way through the first lap, and that will continue throughout the end of the Grand Prix as we are preparing for the third lap of the Grand Prix. We're just waiting to see if there's any moves up in the top 5 right now. I think that's we're gonna show the cameras right now as this is the main battle. As this is the battle for the race lead of the Singapore Grand Prix. Artur Mello currently in P1, followed by Slash, who's got the gap down to 0.5 of a second now. He's gained around 0.3 of a second to the Ferrari driver in P1 now. The Williams is right behind him. Ruben right behind Slash in that Williams, 0.6 of a second, separating second and third position. Jarno right there in the action as well, as also LP Locher up into the top 5. So both Williams in the top 5, and they may be getting some really good points in today's race. This is looking really good for the Williams team. As everyone is setting faster lap times, the top 4 all separated by around 0.6 of a second. This is just great to see here as Slash is now right on the back of Artur Mello, and DRS is now enabled, so he might have the opportunity to make the move on the Ferrari driver. DRS is enabled for the Williams. Artur Mello did not get the best exit, as here goes Slash round the outside. It's a pretty easy overtake for Slash, and he gets the position. Slash moves into the lead of the Singapore Grand Prix, and that was the perfect move for the Williams driver. Everything went well on that particular corner sequence of Sector 1. Artur Mello did not get the greatest exit out of turn 5, and Slash had the better traction, the better speed, and more grip on those medium compound tires as well to soar past that Ferrari and now lead the Grand Prix by almost a second to Artur Mello in P2. As we're also seeing a great battle going on through the midfield as well. Luca in that Mercedes trying to get past Chris Hallett, and Chris is going to be on the faster compound tires. Remember, he's going to be flying on those tires. So Chris in a great position right now to make sure that he can, in a great position actually to push and try and overtake a few people, because those mediums will last a little bit longer than the other drivers. So he can afford to push a little bit more than some other drivers. So Kleinblade has now got past Hyped. I think Hyped is starting to lose time on those soft compound tires. And you can already see he's losing a lot of time. Either he's got wing damage or those softs are just really not working out. And I think it is the latter. I think those softs are seriously not working out. Oh, Jarno in the wall, and that is the McLaren driver who is currently in P9, was running P4 at the time, and I think he may have got too much on the exit of the corner. Unfortunately, we didn't see exactly what happened, but we saw a lot of wing damage on the track, a lot of clutter all over the track from that McLaren front wing, and he's getting a wing change and a fresh new set of hard compound tires, which is not good for the McLaren driver. It was going all so well, and unfortunately it has not worked out really well, as meanwhile Ruben is up at a second position now. Ruben has made the move on Artur Mello. I think those softs are not working out right now. And I told you guys, once you reach lap 4, the softs die out so quickly. And I think this might be, I'd say, the most difficult track for degradation. This and maybe the Chinese Grand Prix. Chinese Grand Prix is very difficult for the tires to start degrading. So this one, this track, and probably Shanghai and probably Baku as well. Those 3 tracks are really, really difficult to manage the tires. And already Artur Melo is feeling the pressure of those soft compound tires starting to degrade. And he's losing a lot of time to the front runners now. I think he should probably come into the pit lane in the next 2 or 3 laps. And probably pit onto the mediums and try and go for a 2-stop, a soft medium. That's probably the best strategy for the Ferrari driver. And LP Loader is now going for the move on Artur Melo. He couldn't get past into the first DRS zone, but he's going to come down to Raffles Boulevard. And you can see Artur Melo trying to fight the car to get a nice line out of that particular corner. And unfortunately, that's setting up a perfect exit for LP Loader to make the move. And there he goes. And the Williams driver is going to try and keep this going. But Artur Melo is going to try and keep third position. But unfortunately, he has to back out. Those tires were not working good. And now it is Williams in the top 3. Both Williams cars in the top 3. So that was a good move from LP Loader. He gave the space to Artur Melo. Artur Melo tried to defend as much as possible, tried to keep the top 3, and unfortunately didn't really work out for him. And that's not down to driver pace, that's just really down to the tires. That's kind of how that works out. Now he's under pressure from the Alfa Romeo of Plex in that Italian car, as he's going to try and go to the inside maybe. Brakes a little bit later than the Ferrari. You can see Artur having a little bit more difficulty into corners where you have to turn the car a lot. I think we're seeing a lot of understeer from that Ferrari driver, and that's hurting his exits out of corners and giving the opportunity to the driver behind. And I'm assuming Artur will come into the pit lane at the end of this lap, maybe even the next lap. No, he's staying out, so he's going out for another lap here, which is quite interesting. And the great thing is for Artur is that he's actually in a nice DRS train here, so it's going to be really difficult for Plex to make that overtake on the Ferrari driver. And actually Nick Kenshin is trying to get in the battle as well, as the Alpine could be going for the overtake on Plex. But he doesn't get the best of exits, and Plex actually gets a better one, and he's using a little bit of ERS to try and make the move, maybe to a dive bomb into this particular corner. He's going to go for it to the inside line. Artur is a little forced off the track there. Not a lot of space for him to go as he has to back out. Plex is now into P4, and Nick Kenshin is now going to be right in the back of the Ferrari as well. Artur just losing so many positions here, and he's got to come into the pit lane. Nick Kenshin is going to try and make the move. He looks for the overtake. He's going to try and go for a little bit of contact between the two driver. Nick was trying to go for the overtake, but couldn't go for it at the exit of that particular corner, and Artur keeps the position but goes wide, and now Nick Kenshin sends it to the inside. What a move from the Alpine, and now gets up into 5th position. I think Artur got a little bit too much on the power out of turn 2, spun the car a bit, and went wide. That allowed Nick Kenshin to send it up the inside. He saw an opportunity, and he went for it. That was amazing from the Alpine driver, and now he's going to start chasing after the Alfa Romeo, who's in P4. And I'm really curious to see when Artur Melo in the Ferrari will come into the pit lane. He should be coming into the pits maybe this lap or the next lap, but that's what I said on the previous lap, as now he comes into the pit lane. He does come into the pits on lap 6, and the Ferrari will be coming into the pit lane and most likely losing the position all the way to Mats. I think he'll exit in P13, maybe even where Jarno's at. I'm not exactly sure. I think he should exit in P13 though. And he's going to put onto the hard compound tires. Very interesting strategy from the Ferrari driver. So maybe he's going to push those tires a little bit more and then pit for the mediums at the end. Or he's trying a strategy of going from soft, hard, softs. And I know that's a very difficult strategy to do. But if he can take these hards for, I'd say, till at least lap 25, 6, somewhere around there, then he can go to the softs, which would be great for him. And I don't know, maybe that'll work out. But we'll see. We'll see how his strategy ends up. But he's got a lot of time to catch up. He's got 17.6 seconds to the nearest car. So we'll catch back up with him and see how he's doing in the coming laps. And hopefully he'll start catching up to the rest of the pack and join that battle for what is, I do believe, P10 at the moment. Meanwhile, Ruben has got the gap down to 0.7 of a second to Slash. This is great. We're seeing a great battle between Ruben and Slash right now. This is great as they come through turn 20 and turn 21. Slash gets a much better exit though, and I think he will get with, I think Ruben will lose the DRS actually. He's 0.7 now with the assisted DRS into turn 1, but what I was talking about is he might lose the DRS into the Raffles Boulevard straight. We'll find out. 0.7 of a second separating first and second position, but Ruben's actually gained a lot of time through sector 1, so he will have the DRS, and he might have an advantage to get right on the back of the Williams car. He's gaining, he is gaining, he's not going to go for the overtake, he's too far back, but he gains a lot of time, and that's good for Ruben. What he's got to make sure is that he's got to keep behind that Williams, and he's got to keep behind him, like, I'd say within 0.6 of a second, where he's at right now. If he stays right here till he gets to the Raffles Boulevard straight again, he'll have a really nice opportunity to make the overtake for P1. Meanwhile, it looks like the Alfa Romeo of Plex is actually starting to gain time on the Williams of El Piloter. So could we see a battle here for third? I don't know. We'll find out. This is going to be interesting. I hope we see it because I want to see more action. And I'm sure we'll be getting that in the next few laps. But right now, it's more about that strategy. That's kind of how it's working out right now, because drivers are kind of making sure that those tires stay till their pit window. They don't want to push too hard on those tires because that degrades the tires, and then they're just going to lose so much time where they lose like over 5 positions, which would not be good. So they want to make sure that they conserve those tires, don't push those tires too much, and yeah, just make sure they get to that pit window and then pit onto a fresher compound tires, then go for that overtake. I'm sure these drivers, though, are, or their team is telling them to push a little bit more on those tires. I think they have the opportunity to do that right now, as, like, especially Plex right now. I'm looking at the Alfa Romeo. Currently, he's on 8-lap old medium compound tires. It looks like he's managing that really nicely, but simultaneously, he's also gaining time on El Piloter. So it's working out great for him. And if he can keep this up, then he's got a really good position and he can continue that. As Robin West is out of the Grand Prix. That is a crash at the exit of the tunnel, and that is a full core safety car that has now been deployed, and that changes everything I've just said all the way up until now, because this has changed the entire strategy all the way around, and now drivers have the opportunity to come into the pit lane and pit onto a fresher compound tires, and this means, viewers, this means we're going to get a lot more racing, a lot more overtaking, and a lot more action, because now that the safety car is out, drivers have the opportunity to pit onto a fresher compound tires and try and push a lot more once that safety car goes away. So this is great news for pretty much every driver on track. I think the only 2 drivers that may have lost out to this is probably the 2 race leaders, as they had that nice gap to the Williams in P3, almost 6 seconds to the Williams. So they may have hurt a little bit from that safety car, but I'm sure it won't mess them up too much, and it will give them an opportunity to pit onto a new compound of tires. The question is, will they? I'm assuming they will, but let's find out. Slash coming into the pits, Ruben coming into the pits. Okay, so they are coming in as expected. I'm assuming all drivers will come into the pit lane now. So we'll see how this works out. Also, Williams are double stacking. So that means that LP Loader could lose some time and a position as well. I hope that's not the case. Slash, you can see him up the road. He's about to make his pit stop. There he goes into the pit lane. And Williams should make a pretty quick pit stop. He's going to exit now. And what's the Williams pit stop like? It's a little bit slow, but it was actually a pretty good pit stop from Williams. As he's at, oh, and that he's been jumped by 2 cars. He has been jumped by 2 cars there. Oh wait, never mind. He has not been. It's just some serious lag. I thought he was jumped by the 2 cars that would have got past him, but I guess that was just some really bad lag, which is quite interesting. Okay, so another thing I want to mention as well is that Clemblid has stayed out, as well as Julio and Mats. All 3 drivers have stayed out on the 9-lap-old hard compound tires. That makes sense. Why? Because those hards can go for quite a while. They're already kind of used up, and once you get to around lap 7, those tires are really good, and I think there's not really a point for them to come into the pit lane. So I understand that strategy. Everyone else is mainly pit for the hards, except LP Loader has pit for the medium compound tires. Now, is this the best strategy, or is the hard the best strategy, you may be asking? Well, in my opinion, I personally would go for the strategy that LP Loader is going for, because he's on the medium compound tires, and those tires will last for quite a bit, and then he should have the opportunity to pit again on the medium compound tires, which could work out in his favor, but he's got to make sure that he gets a good enough gap. Well, the other strategy is the hards, and those hards are going to the end of the Grand Prix. So what's interesting is that while those hard tires, while they are making a one-stop strategy, this could work out really well for LP Loader, but at the same time, it could be drastically different to what we're thinking, and it could be really bad as well. So it's kind of like an either-or situation, I'd say, because it could work out and it could not. So we'll see how that works out. It all depends on the future kind of like... it kind of depends on the safety cars and if there's any weather conditions, could be rain or something like that. We don't know what at this current stage in the race. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see how that works out. I think LP Loader, this could be a really good strategy by him. But I want to move down to the bottom 3 who have really, I think, particularly Archer Mello has really not benefited from that safety car. He was going for that strategy of the hard compound tires. He is now down to 13th position. Ooh, interesting. Okay, while we were talking about that, LP Loader and Jerome come into the pit lane. That is very surprising. So the Williams has pit onto the hard compound tires. So he decided that those mediums were not the best strategy, which is quite interesting. So I don't know. Maybe he thought that... maybe he reconsidered the strategy and went like, okay, maybe the hards are the better strategy. I don't know. So it seems like that's kind of how that worked out for LP Loader, and he's come out in P14. Was that the best decision to pit? I don't know. I mean, he did lose a lot of positions, so we'll see. Will that work out for him? We don't know. So anyway, let's move on with the rest of the Grand Prix. We are currently lap 11 as we head into the rest of the race. Clem leads us away for Mercedes. And we know that Clem has led the race before. He won the Brazilian Grand Prix, held off Ruben and the rest of the field. Did a great job in that race. Really did. He really absolutely did. So gotta say again, congrats to Clem. I know that was 2 races ago, but still, absolutely phenomenal job from him. I don't think he's got the chance to win this race today, but who knows? I mean, anything can happen in league racing. But I think Slash is probably going to get the better traction and exit out of the safety car restart since he is on the fresher compound tires. But we'll find out. We'll find out in due time. So, safety car in this lap. Finally, we get the racing underway, and we can commentate on the action. You guys can watch the action as we get ready for the rest of the race here in Singapore. Currently, lap 11 out of 31. We still got a long ways to go in this race. 20 laps, I do believe, are remaining of the Singapore Grand Prix. As Clemblid, the question is, where is he going to go? I would recommend going on the exit of the last corner. That is turn 23. Or here at the exit of turn 21 and 2. but Clemblid is going to go to the end, I think. Oh, he actually goes on the straight. Very interesting. So he goes now, and he will get a nice run out of that particular corner. Oh, and that is a Red Bull or that's a Ferrari of Julio off the track on the start-finish straight, and that is really, really difficult for the Ferrari driver, as he was running up in the top 6, I do believe, and that is no front wing for the Ferrari of Julio, and that is absolutely terrible for him as he moves down to P15, and a drama for Ferrari. Really is a drama for Ferrari race, as unfortunately they moved down to P15. They still got Artemello, though, in P11, looking to try and make an overtake on the cars up ahead. Jarno trying to go for the switchback maneuver on Aussie, going to the inside line. He's going to send it to the inside. Yes, he is. Aussie gives him the space. Jarno trying to keep this going. He's on the fresher compound tires, remember, the faster compound tires as well. But Aussie keeps that position. He defends well and keeps that one. But look at this pack here for 9th position right now. This is absolutely phenomenal. It's McLaren v Ferrari v Red Bull v Williams. And Jerome is there as well, so it's 5 or 6 cars in this battle here. As we see Luca on Chris. I think Luca and Chris are having a great battle as well for P7. As we see Jarno going on Aussie. He's made that move. Aussie goes a little bit wide there, and he's going to lose the position to Artemello as well, as we see them going side by side into the turn 15 and 16. As Artemello will get the position and up into the top 10 for the Ferrari driver. Great news for Artemello. Bad news for Aussie, as he does lose 2 positions there, which is not good for his race chances of getting some decent points in today's Grand Prix. So moving on, Clemblid still in P1 by 5/10. This guy keeps amazing us. I mean, this is incredible stuff. He keeps surprising us with some great action. He's defending and brilliantly. He's defending against the other drivers that are in on faster compound tires, and yeah, he keeps surprising us with some great action. So keep it going, Clemblid. He might be able to come away with a top 5 in today's race, and maybe even a podium. We'll find out. As we see Mats and Plix going side by side. Mats goes wide. The Alpine will have to back out of the battle with the Alfa Romeo, as we see the Ferrari of Julio retiring after the contact on the straight with the wall, which is a little unfortunate, as we see Chris and Luca almost side by side into that section. We're seeing an awesome battle here for P6 right now. This is amazing between all these drivers. Into the old Singapore sling we go, as the Mercedes of Luca trying to go side by side to the outside line goes Luca. He's going to try and get the better exit out of turn, I think that's turn 13. As the Mercedes trying to keep this going, as there goes the Red Bull of Hype to the inside of Artemello. Arter defends well, though, and keeps the position off of the Red Bull of Hype. Very, very awesome stuff here between all these drivers. Great action we're seeing here today, and this will continue on. So right now, Slash has got the gap down to 0.2 of a second now. DRS is now enabled, and I think Slash should get the opportunity to make the move on Clemblid. We just had a comment that also came in a while back that said go Slash, and definitely go Slash, because he could be going for the win here, and he can definitely be going to make that move in this Raffles Boulevard straight. So let's find out. DRS enabled now for the Williams drivers, getting a lot of time. This should be a pretty easy overtake, as Clem defends, actually. Clem defends quite well, and Slash does try and make that overtake, and he does get the overtake. It's a little aggressive from the Mercedes, I gotta say, but I think it all worked out. No damage between the 2 drivers, and Slash did eventually get past. I think it was very difficult to see like kind of where you were gonna go into that particular turn at turn 6. So yeah, great defense from Clem there, as Slash in P1, Ruben P3 now, and looking to make the overtake on Clem. I think he should get the overtake into the DRS zone now, I think. Clem doesn't get the best exit. Ruben gets a better one, though. They both have DRS. Is Ruben going to try and send it? I don't think he is. There's not enough space, and he doesn't, as I say that, as the Red Bull will keep in P3. And now he's got that Alfa Romeo of Plex right behind as well. So great battle going on for second place, and Ruben's got to get past here. Ruben definitely has to get past Klemblid here, because if the Red Bull driver doesn't, Slash is just going to start gaining like a second per lap, because he's already got the gap now to 1.4 seconds to the Mercedes in P2. So Ruben's got to get past here. He's got the DRS. Klemblid does not. I don't think Ruben's going to make that overtake yet. He's going to wait for the Raffles Boulevard section, and then he's going to make the overtake. As the Alpha of Plex does get a 3-second time penalty. The Red Bull of Ruben is now going to try and go to the outside line. He's going to back off, try and go for the switchback maneuver. Yes, he does go for that and gets the better exit to go side by side with the Mercedes down to Raffles Boulevard. Plex is now going to try and make that overtake as well. There goes the Alfa Romeo, and he could be trying to make the move on Ruben, but Ruben keeps the position, and 2 overtakes right there, and unfortunately Clem does lose the position, but he is on 14-lap old hard compound tires, 10-lap older tires than all these other drivers, so it makes sense why he's struggling a little bit to keep up with the rest of these drivers. As Artur Mello trying to go for the move on the Alpine of Mats. Let's ride on board with the Ferrari, maybe trying to send it to the inside. There he goes, he's gonna send it. Oh, a little bit of contact, a little late from Artur Mello. I think Jarno and Luca get ahead. That was a little late from Artur. I think it was a little bit too courageous, I'd say. I mean, I understand that was a good opportunity to make an overtake, but I think he just went on the brakes a little bit too late. So Jarno up into 7th now. That's good for him, and he's trying to make his recovery drive. He's on the mediums as well, so he's going to be much faster than these other drivers out on track, and now he's free to chase after the drivers up in the top 6 now. So could Jarno get a top 5, maybe get back up into a top 5 position here? A great recovery drive it would be for Jarno if he's able to do that. Purple sector as well in the 3rd sector. Jarno's flying right now, and look how much time he's gained on Chris Hallett and the rest of the pack here. It's, I think, 3rd down. The one thing, though, that's going to hurt Jarno's race is that he doesn't have, he's stuck in a DRS train, which is a little unfortunate for the McLaren driver because he's not going to have an opportunity to really go for the move. As there goes Plex on Clem, he gets the overtake, and there is a move going on at the top of this pack here, and the Alfa Romeo moves himself officially into P3 now. I think he got passed a little bit earlier on, but I think he got re-overtaken by Klemblid, as the Alfa Romeo will now get up into the top 3 in today's race. And he's got to make sure that he gains time on that pack, because he's got to make sure that he gets that 3-second gap, because he's got that penalty. All right, so Slash leading away by 2.1 seconds to Ruben in the Red Bull. That is the gap for 1st and 2nd position. A further 2.7 seconds separating 2nd and 3rd position. Plex gets a little bit out of shape on the exit of turn 21. Thankfully, he saves the car. He does lose a little bit of time to Klemblid, though. So that's quite interesting. But the Alfa Romeo might start gaining time as Jarno goes for the move on Chris. Jarno gets the move on the Haas driver, and considering that they're all in a DRS train, that was a good move from Jarno, and he moves himself up into top 6, and trying to go for the move possibly on Nick Kenshin next. So let's see how this works out for Jarno. He is 7/10 behind his Girona and Luca swap positions as well. Good move from the AlphaTauri, as AlphaTauri now into the top 10 as well as, hyped, I think a little bit, I think he got too much on the power maybe. Saw like a sideways spin there for the Red Bull, but I think it's all good though. He didn't lose too much time, as I think we're seeing the battle for 4th right now. Nick Kenshin in a really good position for Alpine. He hasn't got, I think he's got some bad luck in the previous races. I want to say Austria, a few races ago, He qualified on pole. I think it was a difficult race for him. He got some sort of like drive-through penalty, or had like someone like made contact with him or something like that. But he's just gotten some bad luck in previous races, and I think now he's hopefully getting some good luck, and hopefully we'll be getting a top 5 finish in today's race. Definitely deserves it, and definitely has got the pace, as he's going to try and make that move on Klemblid very soon. Klemblid is out of the DRS range of Plex in that Alfa Romeo. Oh, as there goes Chris on Jarno. What a move from the Haas. He was looking to make that move on Jarno, and is now right behind Jarno, a 1/10 of a second behind. Chris looks for the overtake. Doesn't make it, though. That was very, very good from Chris, though. I saw... Oh, gets a little bit too much on the power, though. That was close to a DNF for the Haas. It loses a little bit of time to Jarno, though, and unfortunately might lose a position in the process. But I admire the courage that Chris had to go side by side into the last corner, turn 23. Hype going for the move. Oh, and he spins around, and there's contact. Contact, a big crash, as Jerome is caught up in that as well. I think Hyped went for an overtake, and I think Chris was already turning into that corner, and I think it just didn't really work out for the pair of drivers, and unfortunately Hyped has spun around, and Jerome was hit in the process. I think there was nothing that the AlphaTauri driver could do. Unfortunately, he's got damage now, and that will really, really severely hurt his chances of getting points. Jarno could be going for an overtake on Nick Kenshin as well. This is the closest he's ever got. This would be great for Jarno if he can make that overtake as soon as possible. ASAP, if he can make that overtake, let's find out. And what is going on with the audio into turn 16? I apologize if you guys are hearing the weird glitching of the cars. Either that's my end, or that's just the cars going underneath a tunnel. Sometimes that can happen for this track and other tracks with like the tunnel section at Monaco. That's another example. I don't know, sometimes there's lag with that, but I think it's all good. Nick Kenshin, this is the closest I think he's gotten to Klemblid. I think he's going to try and make that overtake into the Raffles Boulevard section of the track. I think... Oh, gets a little bit too much on the curb, though. And Jarno is going to get past. But Nick Kenshin's coming back. The Alpine and the McLaren side by side coming down into turn 5. Ooh, so close to contact. But Jarno keeps ahead. That was good from Jarno. He took advantage of Nick getting too much on the curb there. Unfortunate for Nick, as he's going to lose the position to Jarno there. But good news for Jarno. He's going to put himself up into the top 5 and try and make that overtake on Klemblid. And remember, I think Jarno still has to pit in this Grand Prix because he's on those mediums, and I don't think... I mean, maybe those mediums will make it to the end. I think... I mean, by my calculations, the mediums should last for around, I'd say, 16 laps. That's kind of how long the mediums will last, and Jarno's going to go a little bit more if he's going to stay out on the mediums. We'll find out. Hopefully he can stay out and get a good position, as he's going to try and get past Klemblid. I think it should be a pretty easy overtake for the McLaren of Jarno, and he does get up into the top 4. Good move from Jarno. Klemblid might go for the overtake as well, as we see an awesome camera angle there on the curb, as the McLaren of Jarno will get up into P4. Good news for Jarno, and now he's got to start chasing after Plex in that Alfa Romeo, and the gap now between Alfa and McLaren is 2.5 seconds. And Nick Kenshin in the Alpine is in P6 as well. Watch out for him. He could be going for an overtake as well. And we also had a comment that came in that says, who is the Ferrari? I will tell you guys who the Ferrari is. So we got Artemello in the Ferrari. He is the only Ferrari driver in today's race, currently P9 on the medium compound tires. The second Ferrari is Julio in the second Ferrari down in P15. Unfortunately, he had contact with the wall, I think, at the exit of the safety car. And unfortunately had to retire due to massive damage. So hopefully that cleared up your question on who the Ferrari drivers were. And I do believe, I don't know this for sure, I do believe Artemello is a reserve driver. for Ferrari. I don't know that exactly, though. I have to get more confirmation on from the F8 admins. I'll find out that information and hopefully answer that particular question, hopefully in the next race. But anyway, moving on, we are now on lap 20 out of 31. 11 laps remain of the Singapore Grand Prix. We've seen action non-stop in today's race, overtaking pretty much every single lap. We have seen it. It is great to witness this. Clemblid on those hards. I think what he's trying to do is trying to go to the soft compound tires, and you want to go to around lap 25 at least on the soft compound tires. Actually, I mean, the softs usually last around 8 laps. I'd say maybe 7 laps on for the new soft compound tires. So you could probably pit around lap 23, lap 24 on the soft compound tires. I would try and pit on lap 24 if I were you. So Clemblid, if you're going to try and go for the soft tires, I think he has to, because he has to pit at least once, and he has not pit yet. I think he has to go for the softs probably around lap 24. Nick Kenshin is going to go to the overtake on the Mercedes, and finally Nick Kenshin does get passed up into top 5, and I'm sure he'll be happy with that. I think he was trying to make that overtake on Clemblid, and he wasn't able to, but he finally did get passed, so that's good for Nick Kenshin. Chris Hallett in the Haas is now going to be the next driver to try and make an overtake as well. He's going to want to get up into the top 6 in today's race. I think if he can get a top 6 in the Grand Prix, I'm sure he'll be happy. We'll see how that works out for Chris Hallett. As you see a nice bird's eye view of the track, as we see that really difficult turn 12, I do believe it is. Turn 13, sorry, that was my mistake. But the Haas of Chris Hallett should be going for the overtake on the Mercedes as soon as possible. Let's see if he's going to be going for it on the DRS straight coming up, the pit straight. That's what I meant. So we'll see. Also, another question I want to answer is Jarno's situation. Is he going to pit on those medium compound tires? Personally, I think he's going to try and go to the end. But let me know what you guys think. As Clemblid comes into the pit lane. It is a pit stop for the Mercedes driver, his first pit stop of the day, and the last driver yet to pit in this Grand Prix will pit, and he's going to pit on the medium compound tires. Very interesting strategy from Clemblid. I think he could have gone a little bit longer and pit onto the softs, but maybe those tires were just so degraded, and maybe he had used soft, maybe he used up all his softs in qualifying, and maybe he had to pit onto the mediums. Whatever the case may be, he is coming out in P12, because Mats will overtake him. And we'll see how hyped spinning off at the I want to say the hairpin at turn 13. So it looks like a spin for the Red Bull driver, unfortunately. But he will get back on track and continue on. Something I have noticed in today's race, and something I'm really impressed with, and anyone that is driving in today's session that's watching this this commentary, like you're watching the replay or whatever, I want to say you guys are doing a great job of keeping it consistent and not really hitting the walls. I've seen many races in Singapore where drivers make so many mistakes. I do it all the time because I cannot get this track. I'm not that precise on this track. But I want to say you guys are doing a great job to keep it out of the walls and not do too many spins. Of course, you're going to see spins in Grand Prix, but I've just noticed that it hasn't been as much as previous Singapore Grand Prix I've witnessed in virtual league racing. So great job, guys. Keep it up. So anyway, we move on. Slash still in P1. The gap is 2.8 seconds between Ruben and Slash. Slash has done a very consistent job today. I think he's got this race win. But I don't know. I mean, anything can happen in league racing. Another thing I quickly want to mention is the standings. I'll pull that up in a second. So I definitely want to talk about that. But while I'm doing that, I want to let you guys know if you guys are enjoying the stream, please make sure to like this video. It really does help me out. If you guys are just joining us, what you have missed is basically we have lost Robin West and Julio from the Grand Prix, as we see another spin by Hyped in the Red Bull. As, currently we got Slash in P1, Ruben P2, and Plex in P3. Another talking point is Jarno, who was in P4 at the start of the Grand Prix. I think he hit the wall or had contact with someone and went all the way down the order. Now is back up into contention for the podium, which is absolutely phenomenal. So that's kind of a race rundown, if you will, on that. A yellow flag. Is that hyped or is that Ruben? It is hyped. Thank goodness it was not Ruben, because Ruben was in P2 and that would have been disastrous for Red Bull if they lost their driver in the top 2 in today's race. Ruben's done a very consistent job as well. If he grabs P2, I think he'll be very happy with that one as well. And I'm sure he's going to be going for P1 in today's race. But, I mean, if he grabs a podium, I think he'll be happy as well. Because the thing is that the standings is very close, and Ruben is in contention for the standings as well. So I'm sure he will be wanting to get a good result. And I think a podium will satisfy him. Unfortunately, we don't have any standings from after Mexico. I'm not sure why, as Hyped has retired. Is that a full course safety car? If that's a full course safety car, that's just changed everything. Hyped is off the track at, where is that? Oh, that's a massive crash for the Red Bull driver, but I don't think that's going to affect anything. I think that should continue the Grand Prix. I kind of wish there was a safety car, but that's okay. We continue on, and I think that Red Bull should get cleared up. Yep. It will, and there's no safety car, so all good. We'll still see some action out on track. Meanwhile, we actually do see some action out on track. We see Jarno 0.6 of a second behind Plex. And let's pull up penalties now so you guys can see all that. 3 seconds is for both the drivers in 3rd and 4th position. Also, Luca has got 11 seconds of penalties, which is going to drop him down outside the top 10, I think. So that's not good for him. That means that Mats... I mean, if he gains all the way up to that pack there, he might be able to get P10 in today's race. But I don't think he's going to have the opportunity to do that as he's so far down right now. I think the Mercedes of Luca should be getting at least a point in today's race. But the point standings from Brazil 2 races ago stood with El Piloto in P1, Ruben in P2, and Jarno in P3. Now, El Piloto is down in P9, which is, I'd say, it's okay for the Williams driver, but it's not where he wants to be, of course. Which is that's really difficult for the Williams driver, as he needs points in these closing stages of the season. Especially as we come into more of the harder tracks, I would say, as a few of the circuits coming up, like I think the United States Grand Prix is up next or something like that. It's like in 2 races. So yeah, I think you got to make sure that you get a lot of points. And right now, I think Ruben, if he grabs P2, it'll be great for him. But we'll see. We'll see how that works out. Jarno's still in contention as well for the championship. So we'll see if he's going to be able to possibly grab this one. Who knows? We could see anything in racing. And just to confirm, the United States Grand Prix is up next. We're flying back to North America as we head to Austin, Texas. As, yeah, that will be very awesome. I can't wait for that Grand Prix. I'm sure you guys are excited for the race at the Circuit of the Americas. I sure am. As an American, I would love to commentate on the action for my home Grand Prix. But anyway, we move on 25 laps into this race. It's been a long race for some, I'd say. Singapore is always a very long race. A lot of drivers say it's the most toughest race on the F1 calendar, as it's right on the equator as well, Singapore. And so there's a lot of heat as well. And so that's why drivers have to kind of cool off after the races, especially here in Singapore. But anyway, Jarno, 0.3 of a second. That is our closest battle, I think. And this is a quite big battle. And right now, this is for position as well. So we could see Jarno getting P3. This will be great. I'd like to see Jarno on the podium, but I'd also like to see Plex on the podium as well. So either one of these drivers, I'm sure will be great to interview. As we see Jarno, a little bit of lag there on our screen. I don't think that was the case in the F1 game. I think it was just down to maybe my connection's not that great. As we see Archer Mello getting a 3-second time penalty, and that is his second time penalty of the day, and he's currently down in P8. So I think he's going to be staying in P7 because Luca should be with those penalties. I think Archer Mello will be getting a top 7 in today's race. I think that safety car really affected the Ferrari driver. It was looking also well. He pit quite early because he had to due to those soft compound tires. But then the safety car came out and kind of ruined his strategy, which is a little unfortunate, but it's how it goes. It's how racing goes. But actually, I think Archer Mello might be getting actually maybe even P10 or P9. Because the thing is that El Piloto and Aussie are probably going to be grabbing P7 and P8. And I think Archer Mello will be grabbing P9 and Luca will be grabbing P10. I think that's kind of how that's going to work out. Two drivers I'm very happy to see up there as well as Nick Kenshin and Chris Hallett. Both drivers really going well. They have shown some great pace this season. Of course, Chris taking that amazing win in Britain. We've talked about it many different times on the stream. Nick Kenshin taking an amazing podium in taking an amazing pole position in Austria. I do believe he also grabbed a podium in Austria as well. I don't think it was the win, but still was a great performance by Nick Kenshin. But yeah, both drivers have done a great job this season as Jarno right behind Plex now as we come into turn 7 at the exit of turn 8 we go. The Alpha still ahead of the McLaren. As we see Slash still leading the Grand Prix by 3.3 seconds. It's been another great drive by him. It truly has. He hasn't gotten too much screen time as he's been so far out there. He won the race in the Netherlands, and I think he's going to win the race here in Singapore, but I can't say anything quite yet, as anything can happen. And Ruben is still only 3.6 seconds behind Slash, and that's not too far away, actually. So one little mistake by Slash, and Ruben is right on the back of the Williams. So Jarno still in the back of Plex. The gap is 0.4 of a second. Jarno using the DRS to try and gain the time on the Alfa Romeo. Currently on lap 28 out of 31. We still have a few laps remaining of this Grand Prix. And anything can happen, really it can, as we head into the final corner before that Raffles Boulevard DRS stretch. Plex trying to break the slipstream, as he successfully does. He's running out of ERS though. Let's actually get telemetry on so we can see that. Actually, Jarno is actually on the same percentage-wise, so maybe that's why he's not able to make that overtake. Also, we have to remember that he is on the mediums, so the mediums are going to be really difficult for him to manage, and Plex is going to be on faster compound tires, basically. So he's going to have the advantage right now. So I don't know. We'll see how this works out. Will Jarno get the position? I think that's for the race to decide it, but definitely put in your thoughts on this battle here for third position right now. Still got a lot of action coming our way. And after the Singapore Grand Prix, like I mentioned, we're heading to the United States Grand Prix. Just 3 rounds remaining after this one. Oh, we see Luca Rosman off the track, as we also see Aussie trying to go over the move on El Piloto as well. We've seen a great battle there, but Luca in the Mercedes. Luca Rosman is spun, I do believe, at the exit of turn 2. He's got his teammate now coming into P10 now, and Klemblid will get up into the top 10 now. So disastrous end to the race for Luca Rosman, as he's going to be down to P11 and probably won't be scoring any points in today's race, which is a little unfortunate. But yeah, going back to what I was saying, United States Grand Prix coming up next. After that, we're heading to Imola, as we just raced there, actually, in the real F1 world, as of recording this. Was a great race. It truly was. Great podium as well, actually. It was great to see the McLarens up there. Anyway, yeah, we're heading to Imola for the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix, and then we're heading to Bahrain to finish out the season, which is going to be awesome. Just 3 rounds remain, and I don't know any information on the next season as of yet. I'm sure we'll get some more information from the owners of PSGL once we get some more info on that. As El Piloter gets ahead of Artemello now, and the Williams moves into P7. And actually, let's look at this. El Piloter could be going for a top 6, top even 5, actually. He might be going for a top 5. If he starts gaining on Chris, he's only 1.8 seconds behind. He should get P6. Will he grab P5? I don't know. I don't think he'll be able to. I think he'll be able to grab P6, though. So that'll be good points for him. It's not been the greatest race for El Piloter. I think after that decision to pit onto the hards from the mediums during that safety car, that really affected his results in today's race. As we enter the final 2 laps, the penultimate lap of the Singapore Grand Prix, Slash has now gained the gap on Ruben. 4.5 seconds now, almost 5 seconds to the Red Bull drivers, and that's an eternity in Formula 1 terms. As Slash will hopefully be grabbing this race victory. Hopefully nothing goes wrong. That would be a disaster and heartbreak as well for the Williams driver, but I'm not going to jinx anything because I want to make sure that all these drivers get a good result. But anyway, El Piloter, 1.6 seconds behind. I think that's our closest battle right now. I think Jarno, I was going to say Jarno, but Jarno's dropped back a little bit here. I don't think he's got the pace right now to make the move on Plex. I think Plex could be finishing on the podium here. As we see Aussie and Artemello swapping positions now. The AlphaTauri is now up into P8, and that's good for Aussie. He moves himself and solidifies that 8th position in today's race. So he moves up into 8th. And is going to be staying there, I think, if all goes to plan. So the gap still is around 0.8 of a second between Plex and Jarno. And that should be how it finishes, I think. And actually, we're going to ride on board with Slash for the final lap of the race, unless anything happens. And we'll talk about the Williams driver as we see him finish up the final couple of turns. We'll actually catch back up with him in a second, and we'll ride on board with him for the rest of the lap. But yeah, I still want to talk about a few other drivers here. El Piloter in that championship hunt, now 0.8 of a second behind Chris. He is going to get P6. I think he should be confirmed with P6. His yellow flag, that is Matt's out of the race. And that is our 4th retirement of the Grand Prix. Nothing's going to happen. So we will, I think, oh, it's Aussie. Aussie's just gotten a penalty. Will that affect his position? I don't believe so. So it shouldn't affect his position, even if he got that penalty. But if he gets another one, that will severely hurt his chances of getting P8 in today's race. So round the halfway distance of the circuit here comes Slash. He's going to pick up his 2nd race victory of the season. This will be great for the Williams driver as he comes through that really tricky turn 13 as Slash down the final DRS stretch using all the ERS he can, because why not? Ruben, he's going to be grabbing P2, and that'll be great for the Red Bull driver. 4.9 seconds separating 1st and 2nd position. I think he'll be very happy with his 2nd position. Plex should be getting P3 for Alfa Romeo, his 1st podium this season, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure if he got the podium in Mexico. I don't know what the official results were like as we see Luca Rosman retiring from the Grand Prix. But here comes Slash. Round the final couple of corners we go. He's done everything he can today. A consistent job by the Williams driver, and Slash wins the Singapore Grand Prix. What an amazing job by the Williams driver. Fully deserved as well. And that is going to give him a huge confidence boost to come into the final races and go for a 3rd win. But he does grab his 2nd on-track win of the season. Slash P1, Ruben P2. Another consistent job by the Red Bull driver. I'm sure he'll be happy with that one as well. Plex P3 held off Jarno till the end, and the Alfa Romeo, I'm sure, will be very happy with a 3rd position in today's race, a podium, and he'll be getting an interview as well. So great job by Plex. Jarno Amazing recovery, man. Well done from after, I think, a spin or some sort of contact with the wall or driver. I'm not exactly sure. Whatever it may be, he went to the back, came back up to P4, and I think he'll be happy with that, considering the circumstances. LP Loter, P5. So he did grab P5 at the end of it. Great job by the Williams driver. Nick Kenshin, P6. I'm sure he'll be happy with the top 6 finish in today's race. Chris Hallett, P7. Aussie, P8. Clembid, P9, actually, because Artemello grabbed P10 with Jerome rounding off the 11 drivers of the race. So that's the Singapore Grand Prix. What a race here today in Singapore at the Marina Bay Street Circuit. Absolutely phenomenal from all these drivers out on track. It's been great to see that. Great to see a great action, phenomenal action from everyone here at Singapore. So here's your winner slash in the Williams car, grabs P1. Driver of the day goes to Plex. I don't know. I mean, Plex did definitely deserve P3. Was it either Plex or Yarno? That's kind of up to all you guys. Vote your driver of the day down in the comments. So here's Slash P1 for him. Congrats to Slash. Another podium for him. Another race victory as well. I'm sure we'll be hearing from him in a moment's time on his reaction to the Grand Prix win. Ruben P2, they spraying the champagne as we end off the race here in Singapore. Great to see that as we head into the final 3 races of Season 30 of F8. So here's the results for the Singapore Grand Prix. Slash P1 from second on the grid takes first position for Williams Racing. Ruben P2 followed by Plex completing the top 3 of today's race. 9th to 3rd. What a job by him as well. So I definitely understand why the game gave him driver of the day. So now we're going to head into a quick little interview with all these drivers. You're going to see a blue screen. That's just me inviting these players and shouldn't last long, as I'll quickly do that. And then we'll get a quick interview with the drivers we get in here. And then that should be ending things off. All right, so I have invited all the players. We're just going to go to the showroom now. So I'm going to leave the lobby, and so we can get their cars out on screen. So we're just waiting for those drivers to join, and then we will get the racing kind of ended, I guess, as we see Plex joining the session. Thank you so much for joining, man. I hope you had a great race. And while you're joining, can you check and see if your party settings have it so we can hear you on YouTube? There should be an option that says, like, always allow.
Oh, yeah, I'll check that.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's on.
Perfect. Okay. All right. And we're just going to wait for the two other drivers to get in here, and then we'll start up the interviews. All right. And there is Slash joining us as well. Thank you for joining us, Slash. And then we're just going to wait on Ruben joining in a second. I'm sure he will be joining. And actually, while Ruben's joining, we'll start off with the interviews, actually. So let's start off with third place in today's race, the Alfa Romeo driver, Plex. How are you feeling after that Grand Prix? You went from 9th to 3rd in that race. You held off Jarno at the end of it. Just talk us through how your Grand Prix went.
Yeah, so first of all, qualifying was difficult. I didn't have the pace to match with the leaders, so yeah, I'm disappointed with that P9. But I take a good start. I am, I think, P7 at the end of first lap, and then I'm just like trying to pass like the soft compound tires and stay in the DRS of, I think it was the Williams, and that's what I managed to do. And when the safety car came out, I put the hard tires, as everybody except LP, the Williams that put the medium tires. So I had to box again next lap. So I won one more place, and then I had to try to pass the old hard tires as quick as I could to stay in the DRS of the two leaders, and that's what I did. But then when I was in the DRS of Ruben, then I like almost spun and lost the DRS. So then I took the 3 seconds penalty. So it was just like try to manage my tires, and then yeah, defend at the end against Yorno. He had, I think, like really old medium tires. So yeah, just like save my ERS, and then like yeah, just.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for sharing your race. You know, it sounded like you had a great race. It sounds like qualifying wasn't the greatest, but you pulled it off in the Grand Prix. So congrats on that. So what were you thinking on strategy? I know we had a lot of talking about the strategy and stuff like that in the stream. But what was your thoughts on strategy throughout the entire Grand Prix?
When the safety car came out, I knew that I like the hard tires will go to the end. So yeah, I didn't like think about it. I just put the hard tires, and like it was like a quick decision, and I think it was like the best one, and that's what everybody did.
Oh, wow. Well, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts on that, and congrats on P3. Well done on that. And real quick question: was that your first podium in PSGL season 30?
No, I raced last week for my first race at the PSGL, and I won, so it's my second.
Oh wow! Well, congrats. I'm so sorry I missed that race.
Yeah.
1/10 off of him last week.
Oh, that sounds like a great action. Now I feel like I should have commentated that one. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to make it. Dang. Well, congrats on the P1 last week as well, and congrats on P3 today. You're really showing that you got the pace to be in here, and definitely fighting for the championship in future seasons as well.
Yeah, thank you.
No worries. Well, let's move into, I guess, first place now, because Ruben, I don't know if he's joining us or not. We'll see if after Slash, if Ruben is able to join, then we'll do him. But yeah, Slash, how are you feeling after that race? So you grabbed P1, if I'm not mistaken. That is your second race victory this season. A really consistent drive in the race. You really kept the gap to Ruben and kept actually extending that gap as well. So just talk us through how your Grand Prix went.
Yeah, quali, my main aim was to start on the mediums, and I think everyone did as well. And luckily, I was like equal with Ruben, but I set my lap before him, so I qualified P2 with him P3. And then on the race start, I knew the Ferrari driver who was gonna struggle a lot in around lap 3, lap 4 with his softs. So the plan was to overtake him at lap 3, which worked, and then I created like a 2-second gap. Safety car came out, which helped me, I'll say in a bit, but it didn't help my teammate, unfortunately for him. So, and then when the restart came, the Mercedes I overtook him, and then after that, pretty much it was like smooth sailing, like just creating a gap, just extending a tenth every lap until like around lap 25, 26 is when the gap really went big. So I don't know what happened to Ruben in the last few laps, but it's good for me, and it's good as well, as like it's a good chance I can still fight for the drivers as well. So hopefully I could still continue doing this momentum, and yeah.
And did you say you could be fighting for the Drivers' Championship this season?
I think, because I think with my, like, I calculate at the moment because the standings has been released for Mexico, so I think I'm on 73 points. But there's still a gap to my teammate, so we'll wait and see. But hopefully I can just continue being like this up in the field every single race.
Well, I really hope you do. I mean, the last few races that you've had have been really just consistent, I want to say. Like, really well done on that. Sounds like you had a pretty good race. Like a really, like I said, consistent job that you pulled off there. And it sounded like you did a great job, really. I mean, we were talking about it in the stream that you just kept it going, kept the strategy right, took advantage of the safety car, and just continued to lead. And I think you just did a great job. So congrats on that result. And I now want to ask you about the next race, because you mentioned you're possibly in that fight for the championship as well. And yeah, all the best on that as well. But you were talking about how you just want to make sure you keep up this performance. The U.S. Grand Prix at the Circuit of the Americas is coming up next. How are you feeling about that Grand Prix? And do you think you can keep up this momentum into the race in Texas?
I haven't done like a league race around USA, but I did some practice around for like quali, and it's really good, the pace. So I have to do some race practice to see if I'm still just up there with the other guys, but we're just gonna have to wait and see.
All right, well, all the best for the next race. Congrats on the win once again. Really well deserved. And great drive today. So yeah, congrats on that. And also good luck for the championship as well. All the best.
Thank you.
No worries. All right. Well, I think that concludes everything, as Ruben isn't able to join us today. Thank you to Plex and Slash as well for joining us into the interviews for today's session. And I think with that concludes things here today at PSGL. Thank you all so much for joining us throughout the stream. It was an amazing race in Singapore. And like I mentioned, join us next week, same exact time, for the United States Grand Prix. Austin, Texas, we'll be heading to as we head into the final 3 rounds of the season. And like we were mentioning with Slash, we could see one of the best ends to a championship as well in racing, as so many different drivers are involved in that one. So can't wait for it. I hope you guys are excited for it. Thank you so much for watching. Like and subscribe to see more content on PSGL. I've been Formula Jonah, and I'll see you all in the next one. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.